طبعا كانوا يضربوا، كانوا في حرب، كنا نتخبى في الملاجئ، تخبينا في الملاجئ في المغر، تخبينا، خافوا من الحرب، شردوا على عمان، بس جبنا شوية أغراض اللي بنعوزهم بس.
فتركتوا كل شيء في دير؟
تركنا كل شيء، ما في زي أول ما أهلي لما لاجوا من المسمية أول لجية ما أجابوا معهم إلا غيراتهم اللي عليهم بس، كل شيء ضل في البلاد.
This is Teta Khadra. In August 2018, I visited her at her home in Nusayfa, Jordan. She's the mother of Khaltu Maysoon, who I call my second mother. She basically helped raise me as a kid growing up in Texas. Her daughter Rawan is someone I consider my sister. We've known each other since the diaper days. She and Khaltu Maysoon, like myself, live in Dallas, but we're visiting Teta Khadra for the summer. Teta and her family fled to Jordan during the 1967 war out of fear of persecution living in the Palestinian West Bank. When the State of Israel was established in 1948, almost 750,000 Palestinians were forced to leave their homes. The ones that weren't massacred either fled to refugee camps in the Palestinian West Bank, Lebanon, or Jordan. Another mass exodus occurred in the 1967 war when Israel took control of the Palestinian territories, and another mass displacement of Palestinians ended up in refugee camps in Jordan. The numbers were so high, majority of the Palestinians ended up in camps in the middle of the desert, camps that eventually developed into major cities that are struggling till this day. The story of Teta's family is unique because they were displaced twice, in 48 and in 67. During the second displacement, she and her husband were forced to leave their home and find their way to Jordan with their 2 young children. But they didn't let that define their future. They decided that the only way for them to move past the displacement was to continue making education a part of the family's foundation. Teta's husband was a teacher back in Palestine, as the only child in his family that finished school. Khaltu Maysoon followed his footsteps and became a teacher in Jordan and America. Her daughter Rawan continued the legacy and became a high school educator in Texas. Despite the struggle, out came 3 generations of educators, all due to the one decision the grandparents made to emphasize education. I sat with Teta Khadra, Khaltu Maysoon, and Rawan to see how the displacement affected the lives of each generation that followed and to see what role education played in combating those struggles. I wanted to learn of the 3 generational differences in hopes of getting a deeper understanding of how each generation connects. Per Palestinian tradition, Teta Khadra welcomed me into her home in Nusayfa, just 20 minutes northeast of Amman, the capital of Jordan. I have known Teta since I was a kid. She would often visit Khaltu Maysoon and the family back in Dallas. It's been a few years, but knowing her my whole life, it's as if no time had passed. Despite our history though, this was the first time sitting and learning of her family's story of fleeing Palestine. يا هلا.
هلا فيك.
هلا والله.
هلا فيك. أنا اسمي خضرة محمد علي من المسمية الكبيرة فضاء يافا. أنا طلعت من المسمية الكبيرة سنة 48، كان عمري سنة. هاجرنا على بيت أولى الخليل. أولها يعني كانت صعبة علينا.
والله.
لأنه شونا لاجئين من بلادنا، ما معناش ولا شيء، كان غيرتنا الأول علينا أوعينا بس. لما جينا على بيت أولى الخليل صاروا أهلي يأخذوا أراضي ويزرعوا فيها، يزرعوا مكاثي اللي هن خضار وفواكه وزرع وقمح ويحصدوا ويشتروا، وعشنا وصرنا منيحين. هناك الحياة أحلى من اليوم، لأنه كنا ما نعتبر بعض كلنا إخوة، ما في فرق، يعني إنه هذا لاجي، هذا أهل البلد، هذا غريب، هذا قريب، لا، كن أهل وإخوة وحبايب. أهل الضفة كانوا أحسن كثير.
أكيد فلسطين.
فلسطين طبعا فلسطين. تجوزت وأنا عمري 16 سنة وسكنت بيت لحم. كان يدرس هناك، كان معلم مدرسي. رحلنا على الخليل، رجعنا على الخليل. ظليت لما جبت ميسون، بعدين رجعت عنده على بيت لحم. وهناك صارت النزحة لما فاتوا اليهود على البلاد وأخذوا البلاد سنة 67. طبعا كانوا يضربوا، كانوا في حرب. كنا نتخبى في الملاجئ، تخبينا في الملاجئ في المغر، تخبينا. خافوا من الحرب، شردوا على عمان. هناك أيامها اليهود خربوا الطريق اللي بتمرق، فلتوها المي يعني من المي، فالناس يسبحوا في المي ويطلعوا يعني من المي، يطلعوا من الضفة لجاي. إحنا كان في واحد معاه تراكتور لحراتي هذه، في وراه عرباية تريلا هيك بحملوا فيها الغراض. حملنا فيها الغراض وقعدنا فيها، وأجابونا من هناك من بيت لحم لعمان. بس إيش جابونا من المية، نزلوها في المية تمشي في المية عبين ما قطعت الشارع. وركبنا وراء، أنا ركبت أنا وميسون وفدوى وعصام كان معايا، وضلينا لما نجينا على عمان. يومها طلعنا على الساعة 7 الصبح من بيت لحم، وصلنا عمان على أذان المغرب، لأنه من الجبال مشينا من الخلا، ما فيش شوارع. بس جبنا شوية أغراض اللي إلنا يعني اللي بنعوزهم بس.
فتركتوا كل شيء في بيتكم؟
تركنا كل شيء. ما في زي أول ما أهلي لما لاجوا من المسمية أول لاجية ما أجابوا معهم إلا غيراتهم اللي عليهم بس. كل شيء ظل في البلاد. صاحب التراكتور كان من يطا، النازحين اللي ينزحوا زينا بدهم يجوا على عمان، كان هو اللي يحملهم يوميا، رايح جاي يودي يجيب نازحين. احنا لاجئين نازحين. كيف لاجئين نازحين؟ عارف ليه يسمونا هيك؟ لجينا 48 هاي لاجئين، نزحنا 67 هاي نازحين. لاجئين نازحين، احنا هيك بيسمونا. أنا وهناك واحد نفس الشيء، لأنه مش بلدنا يعني، مش بلدنا الأصلية
حتى؟
والله عادي.
Teta was forced to leave her home twice due to the Israeli occupation. She felt like a refugee the moment she left her village in Mesmiya, despite still being in Palestine. For her, there was no difference between living in Jordan and living in Hebron or Bethlehem. If it wasn't Mesmiya, it wasn't her home. After the second displacement in 1967, she and her family initially moved to Irbid, 2 hours north of Amman, and remained there for a few years while having 2 more children. They decided to move to Rasaife when a close friend and colleague of Teta's husband convinced them to purchase land and establish life there.
أول حتى ما جينا هنا صار الأولاد يعيطوا يقولوا شو جابك على الصحراء، كانت هذه جبال وصحراء وخلا، ما كان عندنا غرفتين وبس، ما في، وكانت كلها خلا وجبل وحجار. 5 كانوا، 4 بنات وولد، ولا كهرباء ولا سيارات ولا شوارع. نجيب كاز ونعبي اللمضات الكبار هيك، لا لمضة هي ومنولعها من هنا، وهي تاعتها اللمضة هيك. لا في غسالة لا في ثلاجة أبدا، ما في. والحوش فلت، كانوا ما في بنا ولا في حوش مسكر علينا ولا إشي، كله فاتح جبال. يمكن بعد سنة 3-4 سنين جابوا لنا وصلونا الكهرباء. أول ما وصلت الكهرباء رحنا جبنا تلفزيون، طبعا أبيض وأسود طبعا، وحوش عليها كبير، الأرض فاضية، فكنا نطلع التلفزيون في الحوش برا، وكانوا كل الجيران يجوا يحضروا عندنا، لأنه ما كان في تلفزيونات. أول ما جبناها نحن كانوا يجوا يحضروا اللي هي فارس ونجود، يظلوا طول الليل على التلفزيون وهم مكيفينهم بس برا في صيف الدنيا والكل قاعد برا. كانوا ايش دارنا يعني زي السينما، كيف السينما. الحياة بسيطة كانت.
It was amazing hearing her reminiscing of the simpler days, recalling the calm lifestyle of Recife before it developed into a large town. What was interesting was learning of how quickly her family was able to bounce back after having to flee Palestine, starting from scratch in Jordan. Teta's husband quickly found work because of his teaching experience back home in Palestine, which was uncommon for his generation.
ذاك كانوا في البلاد أيام المسمية ما في دراسة، قليل اللي عند الشيوخ يروحوا، عند ختيارية يروحوا يحفظ قرآن. فهو كان أصغر واحد، كلهم كبار أكبر منه ما درسوا بالمرة. كان في بلادنا يعني يحكوا عن واحد شيخ اللي يدرس صغار هيك، يجيبهم بها الجامعة ويدرسهم شيء، فصاير يروح مع هالصغار يعني يدرس قرآن ويدرس معاهم هذا، كمل وتوظف وصار مدرس كمان. كل ولد أو بنت شهادته سلاح بيده، لما بدهم مش يكملوا ويدرسوا في شي شهادات في شي مستقبل لهم. يوم هايهم العمال اللي معهم الشهادات هذول قاعدين بيشتغلوا اسبوع وبقعدوا شهر بدون شغل، بس اللي معاه شهادة بيلقى وظائف بيلقى شغل. الحياة كانت صعبة طبعا، وكيف بدنا نربيهم، كيف بدهم يكبروا، بدنا نصرف عليهم، بدنا نعلمهم، بدهم يطلعوا لهم مستقبل. والحمد لله تعاوننا مع بعض، والحمد لله علمنا أولادنا كلهيتهم وبناتنا وطلعوا كلهم كملوا تعليم، والبنات برضو اشتغلوا والشباب اشتغلوا، وربنا وفقنا كلهيتهم، وأولادنا كويسين الحمد لله كلهم.
It was honestly moving seeing the resilience in her eyes, the happiness and faith she holds on to through all the struggles she finds herself in. Despite being displaced twice, she kept hope strong. Despite the struggle, she kept finding a reason to smile. As a Palestinian, she isn't allowed to return to Palestine due to the Israeli occupation of the West Bank, but that doesn't keep her from holding on to her Palestinian traditions. She was forced to leave Palestine, but it was clear her heart will always remain there.
فلسطين ظل بلدنا أصلنا وبلادنا نحبها ولا عمرنا ننساها مرة.
After visiting Teta Khadra, I sat with her oldest daughter, Khalta Maysoon, back in Dallas. When I tell people who Khalta Maysoon is, I simply tell them she's my second mother. As a kid, my parents worked full-time to support the family, and when both my parents were working, I'd stay at Khalta Maysoon's house with her kids. It became my second home. Needless to say, Khalta Maysoon has a huge place in my heart. Khalta Maysoon grew up in Recife, but came to the States in the early 90s after getting married and moving here to Dallas with her husband. That's where our families met. She works as an elementary school teacher, and she definitely loves her job. I visited Khalto in her class to get her view of her family's life after fleeing Palestine. She was so young when her family left, I was curious to learn of how the displacement affected her childhood.
My name is Maysoon Abdullah, and I'm elementary school teacher, and I love my job. I remember when we first moved to Recife, it was like a desert and some mountains. There's no cars, not too much people. We stay up all night in summertime, like all the parents outside and all the kids playing. It was fun, we love it, because we was only like five families living there. We used to go picnic, like we will walk like half hour to go to the mountains, have all our food, and go pick up flowers. It's nice, I remember that. It's all good memories, I like it.
So you didn't really feel like the struggles growing up?
No.
Years prior, Teta Khadra was holding Khalta Maysoon in her arms while leaving Palestine on a tractor. It was astonishing how quickly her parents were able to completely rebuild their lives in Jordan, to the point where Khalto Maysoon didn't necessarily experience the consequences of the family's recent displacement. I soon learned why.
My dad, because he loved teaching, so all the time, every day, why you are not study? No playing, go study. You need to graduate, you need to get a high degree. So he kind of put this in our mind. No, we have to finish, we have to be something. Especially girls, they had to have college or university. And I appreciate that, really. When I think about it, my dad was right.
Was education a big thing in the Saifa?
My dad only. The parents didn't care. My dad, the education. My cousin, no, the girls have to get married and have babies and that's it. And boys have to find a job and work and that's it. They don't care about education.
What made you become a teacher?
I always watch my dad teach. And when I go to school, I love the way the teachers work there with the students. So I say, I love this job. I want to be a teacher. I always act like I'm a teacher. Even when I play with my sisters, my neighbors, I'm always the teacher there. When I went to college, I took nursery and kindergarten. Those 2 years for college, it was the best years of my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It was like I did grow up. Finally can travel by myself out of the city.
So you had your freedom.
Oh yeah. So I feel like I'm grown up now. That's it. And where my college was, we love it because the same thing in new college, they just opened it. But there's next to it was one refugee camp, and I used to visit with my friends. That's how I know more about refugee because I didn't live that life, but I see it.
Despite the displacement, Khalto's family bounced back relatively quickly because of her father's experience in education. Education not only enabled him to find work and support his family, but it also inspired his children to seek a bright future through higher education. It was clear her father's work paid off. All 11 children finished high school, 8 of which finished college, and 6 of which became teachers, Khalto being the first among the siblings to receive a degree. Although technically a refugee herself, Khalto was able to find work after college and actually provide help in the refugee camps near campus. Khalto was happy in Jordan. She had the degree, the job, the friends, and the family. But that was all about to change.
So I got married in 1989. Then after 6 months, I applied for my papers. I came here. I arrived in 1990.
To Dallas, Texas.
Yes. When I remember the first second when I arrived to New York, because we have to take Connect, I was so scared. Because I was there by myself. I don't know nobody, I don't know where to go. I don't speak English, I understand. I can read, write, but I don't speak. And this was kind of hard. I was like kind of sad because I left my parents and everybody there. I came here, I have nobody, only my husband. And I never dreamed in my life to leave Jordan and come here. So everything was kind of scary and strange for me. It took me like 1 year until I got used to it because I started seeing people going out.
Yeah.
Like after 6 months of being here, I became pregnant. And I met your mom when I was 5 months pregnant with my first baby.
Rowan!
Yes.
Hi, Rowan.
So your mom was like a big sister for me and she helped me a lot. We stayed neighbors like 10 years exactly. Because after I had Rowan, your mom became pregnant with you.
Rowan, she ended up graduating in 2013 with me in communications and teaching.
Yes.
What did it feel like seeing her at the stadium, watching her get her certificate?
It was a very happy moment for me when I saw her. Oh, it's my daughter, my baby. She's a teacher now.
She is just like you.
She grown up, yeah. And later on, I started wondering, my dad, me, my sisters, and now her.
Khalto Maysoon left all that she loved back into the Saifa to start a family in a country she was a stranger to. She put her life in Jordan to the side to build a better life for her kids in America. the same way her parents put their pain of fleeing their homeland of Palestine to the side to provide for her and her siblings. Just as Teta Khadra longed for Palestine, it was clear Khatu Maysoon yearned for the old days in Rasaifa.
I miss my family there, my school. I never imagined that I will be away from my family. And all
Really?
that. Yeah, never.
So you didn't imagine that you would like come to America?
No. I miss Rasaifa all the time.
I finally visited Khatu Maysoon's oldest child, Rowan, at her home in West Dallas. Rowan is basically my sister. We were in daycare together, we graduated high school together, and we graduated college together, so we've been close for a good bit. She and her brothers are those friends that you call your cousins when people ask, when we aren't actually blood related, but they're the closest thing I have outside of my actual brother and sister. They're 100% family until the end. We grew up in the same apartment complex, just a couple doors down from one another. Our family struggled when we were kids, and we didn't have a lot, nor did we have a lot of family around since our parents were new to the country. But we did have each other, and just a whole lot of good memories that make us who we are today. There isn't one thing I'd change about our childhood. After speaking with her mom and grandmother, I wanted to hear the third generation's perspective of the family's displacement from Palestine and be able to compare the life she lived with the lives of the two previous generations. Rowan!
Hi. I am Rowan Barkawi, and I'm the daughter of Khatu Maysoon. I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas.
How often did you visit Rasaifa as a kid?
When we were younger, we used to go there like every other year, and that was like where we looked forward to spending most of our summers. We'd have lots of sleepovers, eating lots of junk food. It's just really cool to see the dynamic of their lifestyle versus like the lifestyle that we lived, where everything was like Arab over there. So it was really interesting to see how much freedom we were given also overseas versus here, where our parents would be looking at the clock. Oh, it's getting dark out, where are you? But over there it was like we'd just be out in the street like all day. My biggest thing was that we grew up here without any family. So we didn't have any relatives or anything like that. So most of our connections were like friends, like you guys were like our closest thing. But when I would go overseas, it was like having your aunt or uncle or cousin or grandma or all that. It was just such a normal thing to them, where we appreciated that so much more because we didn't have it here. Felt like we missed out a lot on that. And there's a lot of things that I wish I would have been a part of. I just felt so lost because it was always like, you can't do that, you're not, American, or no, we have different rules, we can't do these things. My friends from school, they would just go hang out at each other's house, they'd have sleepovers, and I just felt lost, like, why can't I do that? So I felt like that was something I struggled with. I ended up going to Islamic school for 2 years, which was really great because I felt like I got a connection, and I felt more like I was with my own people, and that really helped me kind of find myself. I felt like I could connect more with the people that were there, learning more about religion and all that stuff. So I felt like that was a really good push for me. And I never really went to go visit Palestine till I got a little bit older. So that helped me see a lot more and understand what the lifestyle is like there versus Jordan. And that was a really cool experience, like going to Jerusalem for the first time and seeing like the way that the checkpoints are, and like seeing that it's not as easy of a lifestyle as it is in Jordan. Like to go to the grocery store, if it's in a different city, you're looking at like a 3-4 hour drive just because you have to go through that checkpoint. So it's a wake-up call for sure. I felt very connected.
Even more so than Rasaifa?
Yeah. When I went to Palestine, like it's different. Like it's like, wow, this is my land. Like my dad took us to our house there. Like he took us to our land. He showed us where we get our oil. It was really interesting to see, like, this is where we are originated from. Like, this is our land. This is us. The first time I went, my cousins that are about my age, they took me to the school. It was just a really cool experience to see what it's like to be in a school with Palestinians versus like being in like an American school or something with other people.
Rowan is a first-generation Arab American. She went through identity struggles that many first generations go through. At home, she was Palestinian, but as soon as she'd step out her front door, she was American. However, as an American, Rowan was able to visit Palestine as a kid because of her American passport, while her grandmother will never be able to. Living in the States is both a blessing and a curse. Rowan struggled to understand where she stood among two very contrasting cultures, but one clear constant was education. Her family was new to the country, but as her parents taught her, education was her way to success.
I mean, I've always wanted to go to college, but my parents definitely, that was something they pushed, and it was a must for us in our household. They just wanted us to have that backup plan so that, you know, wherever life takes us, we have that to fall back on. I took a business speech class, and I just fell in love with the classroom environment, and I liked how the teacher was with the students and just the class itself. So then, like, at that point, I decided I kind of wanted to go into like teaching. I ended up doing a communication degree with an education as my secondary degree, 7th through 12th grade, so junior high to high school. I liked making a connection with the kids. I was never like the cool kid in school, so having students that like are struggling with certain things, like I felt like I was able to make that connection and make their life in school a little bit easier. You know, when you're in high school, you think that that is your life. That was like a message that I was sending to my students, like, this is not the rest of your life. Like, think about what's afterwards and work towards that. Having my parents be that like motivation and push me, and then having my grandparents push my mom, that all led up to where I am now, and I'm very thankful for that. And when I have my kids, I'm going to make sure that they understand how important education is.
Did you ever meet your grandfather?
I was 2 when he passed away. From what I hear, he loved me very much. Even after he passed away, like, people still talk about him till this day.
So this is one of my mom's favorite students. Her name was Rowan, and she actually named me after her.
You have a daughter on the way.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
I'm really excited. I hope that I can be a little bit more understanding because I grew up here and talk things through with my children and like have them understand versus them feel like they're on their own. Now my brother has his daughter here and my brother-in-laws, so I feel like that'll help with my kids to have that as well. I'm gonna try to make them connect as much as I did.
So bringing them back home is going to be that?
Definitely want them to see that. I want them to be, you know, part of the tradition and learn all of our morals and to understand the language and all of that. I feel like they need to understand their roots and where they came from. As long as they're going to study something and that they're going to pursue it, then I'll be happy. They have to go to school. If you're watching this later, Mama, you better be in college.
It's crazy to think how the decision Rowan's grandparents made to emphasize education has traveled this far. Decades down and thousands of miles away. It's almost become a family heirloom passed down from parent to child, a family gem that connects each generation. That one decision completely changed the lives of every generation to come. They faced their own unique struggles, but it seemed as though education was each child's light at the end of the tunnel. A light that gave the next generation an even better life than the one before.
This was one of the wedding gifts my grandma gave me. She handmade this for me whenever I had my first daughter.
Tatriz is the traditional Palestinian style of embroidery. The traditional Palestinian dress will typically have one style of pattern and color all throughout. But the one Teta Khadra made for Rowan's daughter had different colors and patterns, which isn't very common. I asked Khaltu Maysoon why that was the case, and she told me that Teta Khadra has been embroidering her entire life. The dress has different patterns because each patch of embroidery comes from a different time of Teta's life.
أنا بخيط. أنا من زمان يعني من أنا بنت قبل ما أتجوز بخيط فلاحي. كنت أخيط زمان كمان أيام الضفة. هذا الثوب أنا خيطته وخيطت كمان إلي حوالي 5-6 أثياب وأنا خيطتها طرزتها على الطارة على الماكينة. كل شيء بخيط كل شيء بسوي. كنت لأمي لرحمة أمي أنا أخيط كمان ثيابها وإلك ولبناتي لبناتهم كلهم خيطت لهم.
This is a story of love. The love of a parent for their child, and how that love can ignite a spark in a person that gives them a supernatural strength to overcome any hurdle that comes their way for the sake of their child. a spark that gets them up in the morning and gives them the courage to keep pushing for a better tomorrow against all odds. The thread began with Teta Khadra being forced out of her home and fleeing Palestine on a tractor while carrying her 2 children in her arms. It continued with Khalto Maysoon sacrificing her entire life in Rasaife to give her children a better life in America. It found its way with Rawan fighting for her identity by embracing the culture of the land her grandparents were forced to leave and walking the stage at her university graduation with the exact same diploma her mother and grandfather received. 3 generations of educators connected by love, sacrifice, and hope. Each child's success built on the pain, courage, and unspoken love of their parents wanting nothing more than to see their child prosper. This bond, this inexplicable bond between a parent and child, the true miracle of our Creator. They've come a long way, but this family's thread does not end there.